What's up, ballers? Today, we're back and we're getting in with the NFL Week 13. Time moves on. I'll give you my one bet per game, pretty basic, and a money line. Start off easy. Steelers at Atlanta first up. Steelers coming off of a win against the Colts. Offense and defense are finally picking up for this team. Ever since TJ Watt came back, the defense ramped up instantly. Now the offense is slowly going. They finally incorporated their third running back into the lineup regularly. Now they got Warren, Snell, and Najee. And on the Atlanta side, second best rushing offense in the league. You would have never thought that watching their games. They're a dud. They're a dud to watch, I'm telling you. Dead last defensively, so you know any team, they're just going to ramp up the damn score. Falcons team is falling off hard, and I'm following the trend. Taking Pittsburgh +1 and the Steelers money line. Next up, Packers at Bears. Packers had a loss to the Eagles. Love looked hot when he got in there, when he replaced Rodgers. Rodgers was limping around. I don't know if it was hip or his ankle. I didn't read into it. But Aaron Rodgers, he's supposed to be back. He's supposed to be playing. And he loves playing the Bears. He always rubs it in their face. That's the only game of the year I'm convinced that he likes until it gets to playoffs, if they're in there. But the Bears, they got stomped by the Jets without Justin Fields. He should start also, so both injured quarterbacks are going to be in there, not even 100%. Bears are the number one rushing team, partially thanks to Justin Fields, and they are the 32nd passing team in the league. Yeah, I don't even know why Justin Fields is going in there. I heard he may need surgery on his shoulder. I have no clue. What's he in there for? I think he's close to 900 rushing yards. He may have told the coach, "Don't bench me until I get 1,000." But right now, they're mathematically still in it. Obviously, almost everyone is for a wild card. But you got to lock him down at this point. You playing for picks. You almost want to tank. I know that they want to get away from that, obviously. But, yeah, you should be benching him. Packers are going to do enough, but they won't go overboard. I got the under at 44, and I'm taking Packers money line. Lock it in. Next up, Jags at Lions. Jags pulling off a very, very impressive clutch, going for 2, upset against the Ravens. Jags last week, and Jets, I think, week 3 against the Browns, the insanely improbable comeback they had, onside recovery, everything. Those are 2 of the biggest comebacks I've ever seen personally, sitting down and watching them and not being a complete idiot like when I was younger, playing a Game Boy while watching, not fully in the game. Now I'm fully entranced. One of the greatest I've seen. But anyways, they're going up against the Lions. And the Lions last week gave the Bills a run for their money, but they still came up with an L in a Lions fashion, as usual, like you would normally hear. But that actually snapped a 3-game win streak for the Lions. And they have one of the worst defenses in the league, next to Atlanta. And Lions will be Lions. So I'm taking Jags here. Trevor Lawrence has been on a tear, the young prince, if you will. I'm taking Jags money line in the over at 50.5. I think Jags are going to do enough to keep the lead. Lions are going to just have to keep winging it and do what they can. Maybe Lions and Jags trade off leads and the score just keeps going. That's what we hope for. But let's move on. Jets at the Vikings. Jets, Mike White started and sparked a team win. The whole team is rallying behind this guy. It's amazing. They're making t-shirts. Either they like Mike White so much or they hate Zach Wilson so much. I don't know. But the number one guy you need to be looking on this team is Sauce Gardner. Number one. He coats people in sauce and just locks them down. 14 pass deflections on the year. Only able to snag 2 interceptions. But you know he's going to be locked up on the other side. Their number one target, Kirk Cousins. Obviously, I'm kidding. Justin Jefferson. number one wide receiver in the league in my eyes. Just to the eye test, the catches he comes up with, the hands he has, the quarterback he has. He is actually number 2 in the league with 1,232 yards, 1 yard behind Tyreek Hill. We'll get to him later. Obviously, Sauce is going to be one-on-one with this guy. So I think if the Jets can lightweight, like I'm talking Buffalo Wild Wings Sauce coverage, half Justin Jefferson. I think Jets can pull off this win. Their defense is hot right now. I'm taking Jets money line and the Jets +3. Let's upset America, guys. Go along with me. Go against the grain. Moving on. Commanders at Jets. Commanders won an ugly game against the Falcons, but when you talk about the Commanders, you're always going to talk about ugly games. I already talked about the Falcons earlier. I'm pretty sure I mentioned ugly or disgusting gameplay. I don't know what I mentioned, but they had an ugly game last week. This game's sure going to be ugly. But the last time they met against the Giants, they did win 22-9, so we'll see if Hero, Heineke, and Gibson can pull it out. But the Giants still have Saquon. Despite that, they got embarrassed by Cowboys last week. But look for Giants to really try to come back strong. They're in the running still, right behind Dallas and Eagles, obviously, which is crazy that Giants are even clinging on. Maybe they're clinging on to that ledge, and maybe this is the week they just let go and say, hey, we just can't keep up with those guys. We're good, but we're not that good. I don't know. I'm taking Hero Heineke, though. Money line, even Vegas had a hard time on this because it was nearly a pick 'em. I got Washington at 1. They need to cover the spread at 1. So, come on, Commanders. Heineke, my boy. You know, you're a hero for that town until they draft somebody else. Be a hero for me for the money. Do it for the money. Let's go to the next matchup. Titans at Eagles. Titans, man. I thought you were going to do it. Thought you were going to beat the Bengals. And right now I have this weird thing with the Bengals. They're all calling me haters and stuff. I'm not a hater. I'm just not entirely sold. I know the Bengals went to the Super Bowl last year, but we've seen this before where a team just overplays their true expectations. But regardless, stick to the team at hand. Titans right now. Titans had a bad loss to the Bengals. A penalty. I mean, McPherson could have kicked that field goal. And then Washington gets the ball back and storms back. Titans get the ball back, storm back, and they have a game on their hand. But no, they couldn't do it. A penalty by pushing over the defenseless center gives Bengals back the ball, and they are able to run out the time. It sucks, but it is what it is. King Henry was actually stifled. I think that was the biggest thing, most impressive thing. I don't know how the Bengals did it because their defense hasn't looked that good in the past 5 or 6 years. But they pulled it off this last week. Got to give them their props. They stifled the King. I think he only had like 19 yards. Crazy. But, you know, the King always returns. LeBron. In this case, Henry, he'll return. He's going to come back, have a big game himself. He's going to be unleashed. Eagles are allowing 121 rush yards per game. You don't think King Henry's going to feast? You're fucking crazy. I should have done a bet to where I parlayed whatever I'm betting on this. I parlay it with a Derrick Henry plus 100 yards. And maybe I parlay it with the Eagles over 250 team yards. I don't know because they're so good. They rushed for over 350 team rushing yards last week. Fucking phenomenal. Everyone was going off. Hurts has over 600 rushing yards on the season. Sanders has over 900. This team moves at their own pace, and no defense is able to stop them. Second best defense in the league. I know they're allowing 120 rush yards, which isn't too crazy if you compare them to a lot of other teams. The good teams will stifle teams to 90, 88, maybe high 80s, but Eagles aren't terrible when it comes to the rush. But, I mean, when you're going against King Henry, everybody's terrible. except for, fluke games like they had against the Bengals. But Sauce Gardner leads the league in 6 interceptions this year. I heard something about an injury for him. I'm not sure. I didn't dig into it too much. Maybe that's something you guys can do. Do something for your fucking selves for once. Jeez, you ungrateful fucks. Oh, okay. Sorry. We'll cut that out of there. I'm taking Eagles money line in the over at 44.5. I think King Henry's going to feast, and Eagles are going to need to fly high like they usually do. They had to do it last week. They had to do it the week before. They'll do it again. I'm taking the Eagles. Next game, we got Broncos at the Ravens. Russ and Tackett are nearly done. If it wasn't for Broncos organization not wanting to look like a total fucking idiot and just flat out saying, yes, we lost the trade, Russ would already be benched, and Tackett's coming really, really soon, trust me. But one upside is they have the best defense in the league. I don't know how the hell they do it, and I don't know how the defense hasn't lynched Russ. Or the running backs, for that matter. I know they already got rid of Melvin Gordon. They just can't do that for optic looks and how much Russ's contract is. I'm sure they can't do that to Russ. But they do have one of the best defenses in the league. Crazy. They're going against the Ravens. Defense has been imploding lately for them. Obviously, they gave up a good comeback from the Jags last week. Lamar has over 750 rushing yards. And this game should just be really a morale boost for the Ravens. Maybe not so much defensively. I mean, it should be a morale boost defensively, but not offensively because Broncos have a great defense. But I think if their defense has a boost, their offense is already there. With Lamar, you're going to be there. It doesn't matter what receivers they are. He'll get it to you somehow. Or he'll get there himself with his legs. That's just what he does. I think it's just going to be a morale boost for the Ravens. Ravens win. Low-scoring game. I'm taking the under at 39.5. Ravens money line, if I didn't already say it 3 times. Next game, Cleveland at Texans. The game the NFL is trying to hide. The game, well, they're going to try to prosecute a human midfield. I mean, halftime, they may bring him out and repeat all his charges. I don't know. I don't want to get into that. Defense for the Browns, last week was the first game the whole season I said the defense looked good. I don't know what they did. I don't know what they're taking, but keep doing it because their defense looked amazing. They kept Tom Brady and company. I mean, Godwin ate us alive. It wasn't Mike Evans doing anything. It was Godwin's just ate the Browns defense alive. But somehow, toward the end of the game, the second half, the Browns were able to just hold tight, force it to overtime with the David Njoku crazy one-handed catch, a back of the end zone, defender draped all over his hips. Njoku comes up with it. Arguably one of the greater catches in the NFL this year. Go to overtime, and, we chunk down the field. Amari Cooper gives us a huge drive, and Nick Chubb drives it in. All right, it's too much on the Browns. Getting too much. Anyways, Texans. Deshaun Watson's first game back is going to be against the Texans. Accusers will be watching. God will be watching. I'll be watching. Deshaun's going to ball out. I mean, let's get real. Deshaun's going to fucking ball out. He's ready. He's waited. I mean, there's nothing left in him. He's released everything he had, hasn't he? You would think so. But Davis Mills isn't the guy for the Texans. The Texans' defense isn't very good either. They're decent, but, I mean, they're not going to stop this Browns offense. The Browns offense actually looks decent this year. Actually, good. I won't say decent. I'll say good. Browns' offense has looked good. It's our defense that's been the real problem. But I think the Browns' defense should step up against Davis Mills and company. I know they have Pierce. Pierce is like that meme you see where it's a Lamborghini sitting outside of a trailer park. I mean, wasting his talent. I know they drafted Stingley, who has a season injury, so maybe they don't even plan on keeping Pierce. But I think Pierce really balls out this game against the Browns' bad rush defense. But overall, I think Cleveland smokes them. The over 47, I'm taking it. Browns money line it. And the next game for you is Seahawks at Rams. Geno's on a tear. He's on a revenge tour, if that's what you want to call it. All the doubters, everybody in the league, I think as he's walking down the street, if he sees someone wearing any type of NFL apparel, he'll just juke them real fast just to be like, yeah, proved you wrong, son. I don't know what he's doing, but he's doing it. They had a heartbreaking overtime loss. Props to Josh Jacobs. You know, you make me lose a bet like that, you can't do anything but tip your cap. But the Seahawks also have no defense, all offense, very one-sided. And Rams, going against the Rams, such a weird team. Super Bowl champions. Now they won't even make the playoffs. They just put their quarterback on the IR. Their Triple Crown wide receiver has been out for 3 games now. Won't be back the rest of the season. Their defense is incredible, but unless their defense literally starts scoring touchdowns, the wins won't start coming for this team. I'm taking the Seahawks money line, and I'm taking the Rams to cover +7. Remember, Seahawks have zero defense. Rams +7. Once you get late in games, man, defenses start playing prevent, and then scores just get ran up. Trust me, I've lost a decent amount of unders, and for some reason the scores are through the roof right now for the NFL overall average. So sit back. Let me do what I do. Hold on. I threw a paper. I may need it still. I did. I still needed it. Haha. We back. All right. Dolphins at 49ers. This is going to be one of the better top 3 game to watch this week. Have a lot of good games, but there's 3 I'll name for you. They're coming up. 2 back-to-back. But first up, we got the Dolphins at 49ers. And the Dolphins literally dismantled the Texans like I think the Cleveland Browns are going to do. They proved to me that this is a legit team, not playing down to any type of competition whatsoever. Tyreek Hill, as I mentioned earlier, leads the league in receiving yards in the NFL by 1 next to J. Jeff. 49ers, also very impressive win last week. They shut out the Saints. The defense is legit. Legit. Let's go. Legit. Let's go. Jimmy G is waiting, and he's writing a good resume right now for the offseason. Free agency's coming. Nobody signed him last year until 49ers got desperate. They re-signed him. And then now he's back to being Jimmy G. Repeat the whole process next year. But right now, he has a game in front of him, and how do you think he's going to do? I think Dolphins' defense will be just good enough to stifle Jimmy G in his mid-talent, but the 49ers' defense is what really scares me here. I'm taking Dolphins' money line. Dolphins, when you got that much weapons on the field, at running back, at QB, at wide receiver, great defenses are still going to have leaks. Hoping it's Tyreek Hill fantasy-wise. Let's go. But I'm taking the 46.5 on the under. I think both teams' defenses are going to make this just a brawl. A lot of swinging, no connections, if that makes sense. I mean, defenses are here for a reason, and this game will prove that. If you look on both offensive sides of the ball outside of Jimmy G, even for the 49ers, they're kind of stacked. Run CMC, Debo, Brandon Ayuk's looking like a beast. George Kittle. On the Dolphins, you got Tyreek, Waddle. What's his name? The running back I'm blanking on. You guys know who I'm talking about. Let's move on, though. I mean, the defense, all those names are going to be pretty much moot because the defenses are going to be here to play. Watch. You already have my picks. Chiefs at Bengals. This is the second game out of the 3 that you should be watching because this is Chiefs' revenge game. They lost to them in the AFC Championship, singular, not plural. Yeah, they lost to him at the end of that game last year. I don't know what Mahomes was doing. They were trying to kill time while still score. They ended up fucking themselves. I still ultimately think the Chiefs are just a better team. I think what they do offensively, they do more effortlessly. And defensively, I think they do better with lesser name talent, if that makes any sense. I mean, Chiefs just really, really get after the ball, and everyone for the past 2 or 3 years thought they were just going to be insanely one-dimensional for the defense, for their offense. But no. Can Burrow survive the pressure? Burrow has been doing great, has been doing phenomenal. I started a rant earlier. Let's finish it now. I like the Bengals. They play really good. They play great football. Last year was phenomenal for them. Do I think they played above their true talent? I do. That's just my personal opinion. Bengals fans, this is the thing that gets me about Bengals fans, is for about 5 or 6 years, you didn't hear a peep from them. You didn't hear a peep from them. And they were making playoffs. Not winning playoffs, but they were making playoffs. You think you'd show a little bit of backbone for your fucking team. But then all of a sudden you go to a Super Bowl behind what I feel was a very favorable AFC path matchup. Chiefs, like I said, just really shit the bed that game. But besides that, I think the Bengals are actually really talented. Do I think they're an elite team, top 5? No, I would personally put other teams there before them. And mainly it's because of their defense. I have nothing against their offense except for their offensive line. All of them. But my main problem is the fans. The Bengals fans. You didn't hear a fucking peep from them for 6 years. And now you see every little stat that you can possibly nitpick. They're posting it. Like, I think I've seen, Burrow's 2-0 against the Chiefs probably 30 times now, posted by different people. Like, yeah, Burrow's fairly fucking new to the league. His first year, he only played half a fucking season. They've only played a couple fucking times. 2-0 is not that big of a fucking deal, and you're going up against one of who's trending to be the greatest quarterback to ever fucking live. Respect to Tom Brady. I mean, show some fucking respect is all I'm saying. Is you're comparing Burrow to Mahomes right now. You cannot look me in the eye and honestly think that the comparison is even worthy. Like, come on. I know Burrow's tearing it up, but it's fucking Mahomes. The dude's a magician. But besides that, Higgins, I'm finally sold. He could be a number 1 on half the teams in this league. Tyler Boyd, I knew it. He's a number 3 on a lot of teams. So shut up and quit saying they have 3 number 1s on their team, because they don't. There's other great fucking cores you could compete with them, and they're not saying that. But I'm also not sold on Joe Mixon. Joe Mixon's a very quiet person. I know he generally rushes for 1,000 yards, but you need someone to put you over that hump. You need someone to force defenses to put 7 in the box regularly so Burrow can get to doing what he does. It's just how you construct your teams. I think Mixon's good, but not good enough. But Pirine, you get Samaje Pirine in there, and you just throw a little bit of Kareem Hunt in there with Mixon, and now you got a great receiving back and a good running back. To whereas Mixon, I think you just get a good running back. No offense. But anyways, I spent too much on this damn matchup. I'm probably... whatever. Chiefs, money line. I'm taking them. I think it's going to be a very, very, very close game, down to the very last minute of the last possession. But I'm taking the over at 53. I think the scores are just going to one-up you, one-up you, one-up you. Let's go. Mahomes, break your loss record for them, please. Next up, Chargers at Raiders. Chargers are another team that won late. Another clutch. Another 2-point attempt to win the game. There were some teams just not having the overtime. There would have been 4 overtimes in the whole the week last week 2 of them went to overtime. 2 ended due to 2-point conversions. Just fucking the big cojones right there. Austin Eckler, believe it or not, 80 receptions on the league already so far this year. Still no Mike Williams at wide receiver. And on the Raiders side, Devontae Adams is going to be Devontae. And Josh Jacobs, huge run in overtime. A beast, number 1 running back in the league right now. Puts him at 1,159 yards. I'm taking Chargers money line though. I think this Raiders defense isn't scary at all. I mean, Raiders and Seahawks were going tit for tat. Chargers actually have a good defense. Well, they say they have a good defense, but we'll see what team shows up to play. But I am banking my money on them. Chargers money line, and I'm taking the Chargers +1. Now I can throw it. Okay. Second to last. We're getting there. My mouth is getting dry, but I think I can make it to the end. Colts at Cowboys. Saturday might be back to going on the couch on Sundays if he keeps this going up. And he's sticking with his guy, Matty Ice. I don't know what he's doing. Like, Matty Ice is old. He's washed up. Get him out of there. Get a young guy in there. At least you can have that built-in excuse like, hey, we're trying to build culture here. We're trying to build talent. We already know it's kind of a partial rebuild. So let's start it. If I was Saturday, that's what I'd be doing. But, I may be fired already if I was Saturday, or in this position. They're going against the Cowboys. The Cowboys are fucking hot right now, I think. Honestly, if you put the Cowboys up against any team in the NFL right now, I think they win. But would I guess that 5 or so weeks from now? Probably not. But right now, they're playing insanely lights out. Top 10 rushing and a top 10 defense. Should be an easy win. Jerry Jones is catching some heat for a photo, but Dak wants to catch heat going in the air, and I hope so, because I'm struggling right now with Herbert or Dak to start in my league. I have both of them, and I'm always killing myself with starting the wrong one, so hopefully I pick the right one, and hopefully when I pick the right one, I pick Cowboys money line right, and hopefully the under at 44 hits. I think the Cowboys are going to win, and I don't think they're going to need to do too much to do that against the Colts, and I don't think the Colts have enough offense to score against this amazing Cowboys defense right now. The way they're getting after, the way they do get after the ball, and the way they've been, especially how they've been doing it lately, incredible. One of the best in the league right now. Last but not least, Monday Night Football. Saints got shut out last week. We already talked about that. That can't feel good. Alvin Kamara fumbled twice. One of them at a goal line. Looked like he was trying to stretch for the touchdown. Ended up stretching a little too far and giving the ball to the opposing team. Last time they met with the Bucks, they lost 10-20. But before that, there was always that stigma that Saints have the Bucks number. Saints have the Bucks number. I just don't think they do. Saints they're imploding from within right now. I honestly don't know what's going on. You look at the stat sheet and everything. They had a decent game. I don't know how. Only those 2 fumbled turnovers, and Andy Dalton had. Andy Dalton numbers, but it was just baffling how you got shut out like that, Saints. Really, it was. But they're visiting a Bucks, and I'm sure the Bucks are angry because it sure as fuck doesn't feel good to the Browns in overtime. You lost to them. Like I said, it just doesn't fucking feel good. It makes you feel worse than a clown because that's what you lost to. You lost to the clowns. And Tom, Godwin, and Evans, if Evans shows up, I think they're just going to ball out this game, all 3 of them. Bucks defense, they might shut them out again. They might shut out the Saints. I hope not, because I have the Saints covering. I'm taking the Saints +4. I'm taking the Bucks money line. But the Bucks defense is really good. And like I said, after last week, they got a fire lit up under their ass. So I'm taking Bucks money line. That was my week. 13 pick 'em, guys. Sundays, Sports Beasts. We do a live NFL scoreboard stream. No live footage, but you get me, you get my beautiful voice, beautiful face, and then you get other half of Sports Beast. So tune in every Sunday, 1 or 4. Social medias will be posting to see what time and what matchup for sure. But join in. Be sure to like and subscribe. Follow me on all my social medias. The page is coming up in about 3, 2, 1.